Hey everyone, this is probably the best chia pudding recipe I've ever tried. It's a coconut matcha chia pudding, and you're gonna love it. Unfortunately, my mic cut out while I was recording this, so I'm just gonna voice over it and give you the recipe that way. All right, let's jump in. This recipe calls for oat milk and coconut milk. We're gonna start with just a quarter cup of oat milk. A jar like this works great, but you can do this in really any type of container. You could try a mug or even a bowl. All right, let's add 1 teaspoon of Wonder Matcha. I'm using the lightly sweetened version of Wonder Matcha, which I personally like in the chia pudding recipe because it adds a mild sweetness. But if you have unsweetened Wonder Matcha or unsweetened matcha, you can really use any type of sweetener that you like. So if you like to use maple syrup or honey, you can just add a teaspoon of that and mix that in instead. Of course, you could always do this recipe without any sweetener at all. So I'm just gonna whisk this up until the oat milk and the matcha are well combined, just like you would do anytime you make matcha. This recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, so just add those to your jar. I also like to use some oats in my chia pudding, so I'll use 2 tablespoons of oats. That's totally optional, you can really do this with just chia seeds. Now I'm going to add just a quarter cup of coconut milk. I love using coconut milk in this recipe. It just adds a little bit of that creamy texture and some great flavor too. If you're going to make this with whatever you have around the house though, you can honestly just use whatever types of milk that you like. Adding a little pinch of salt here, and then just a quarter teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then give the chia pudding a really good stir. I like to do maybe about 10 seconds, just make sure there's no clumps in there, and then we just let it sit for about a minute. The chia pudding will start to get really sticky and clumpy pretty quickly, so just come back and give it another good stir, and then you can just cap this and put it in the fridge. What I usually do is let it sit overnight, so just make it the night before and then have it for breakfast. You can even add some toppings if you like, some fresh fruit, nuts, jam, and then enjoy.